The Book of Jubilees, uncovering ancient secrets that could change everything you know about the Bible. What if I told you there's an ancient text, hidden for centuries, that contains revelations so profound they could completely transform your understanding of biblical history? What if this forgotten book holds the key to mysteries that have puzzled scholars for millennia, revealing the true nature of angels, the cosmic reasons behind Noah's flood, and a divine calendar that predates any human civilization? Welcome back to Timler's Sphere, where we journey beyond the surface to uncover the hidden truths that lie beneath. I'm your host, and today we're about to embark on an extraordinary expedition into one of the most enigmatic and controversial texts ever discovered, the Book of Jubilees. Introduction to the mystery. Picture this: locked away in the ancient monasteries of Ethiopia, preserved through wars, invasions, and the rise and fall of empires, lies a text so significant that an entire church considered it sacred scripture for over 2,000 years. Yet the Western world remained completely oblivious to its existence until just over a century ago. This isn't just another apocryphal writing. The Book of Jubilees, sometimes called the Little Genesis or the Book of Divisions, stands as one of the most detailed and comprehensive retellings of biblical history ever composed. But here's what makes it truly extraordinary. It doesn't just retell familiar stories. It reveals hidden layers, provides missing context, and unveils cosmic truths that were apparently deemed too sensitive for mainstream biblical canon. To truly grasp the magnitude of what we are dealing with, we need to transport ourselves back to one of the most turbulent periods in Jewish history, the 2nd century BCE. This was the era of the Maccabean revolt, a time when the very survival of Jewish faith and identity hung in the balance. The Seleucid Empire, led by the notorious Antiochus IV Epiphanes, had launched a systematic campaign to eradicate Jewish culture. They desecrated the temple in Jerusalem, outlawed the Torah, and forced Greek religious practices upon the Jewish people. It was during this crisis of faith and identity that the Book of Jubilees emerged, not as a mere historical account, but as a desperate attempt to preserve and redefine Jewish understanding of their covenant with God. The author, writing under the pseudonym of Moses himself, claimed to be recording divine revelations received on Mount Sinai. But this wasn't just a literary device. It was a bold declaration that this text contained truths so fundamental they originated from the very mouth of God, delivered by the angel of the presence to humanity's greatest prophet. Here's where our story takes a fascinating turn. While the Book of Jubilees was eventually rejected by mainstream Judaism and Christianity, it found a sanctuary in the highlands of Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church not only preserved this ancient text but elevated it to the status of canonical scripture, placing it alongside Genesis, Exodus, and the other books we know today. For over 2 millennia, Ethiopian Christians studied, copied, and revered this book while the rest of the Christian world remained completely unaware of its existence. It wasn't until European explorers and missionaries ventured into Ethiopia in the 19th century that fragments of this lost treasure began to surface in Western scholarship. The discovery sent shockwaves through biblical academia. Here was a text that predated many New Testament writings, yet contained concepts and narratives that seemed to bridge gaps in biblical understanding that scholars had been struggling with for centuries. Now, let's dive into the revelations that make the Book of Jubilees so extraordinary. These aren't just alternative versions of familiar stories. They're windows into a cosmic drama that most of us have never imagined. First, we encounter God's perfect calendar, a solar system of 364 days that creates perfect harmony between heaven and earth. Unlike the lunar calendars used by surrounding cultures, this divine timepiece ensures that sacred festivals fall on the same day of the week every year. The text suggests that deviation from this calendar is not just incorrect, it's a form of cosmic rebellion that disrupts the very order of creation. The familiar story of Noah's flood takes on an entirely different dimension in Jubilees. Yes, human wickedness played a role, but the real catalyst was something far more sinister: the corruption of creation itself through the forbidden union of divine beings with human women. These weren't just moral failures, they were violations of the fundamental boundaries between the heavenly and earthly realms. The Nephilim, those mysterious giants mentioned briefly in Genesis, are revealed as the monstrous offspring of this cosmic transgression. Their existence represented such a threat to God's created order that only a complete reset of the world could eliminate the contamination they had introduced. Perhaps most intriguing of all, Jubilees unveils a complex hierarchy of angelic beings locked in an eternal struggle for influence over human affairs. We meet Mestema, the chief of evil spirits, who serves as a prosecutor figure similar to Satan in the Book of Job, but with far more detailed interactions with biblical heroes. The text reveals that many of the plagues and trials faced by God's people weren't random sufferings. but strategic moves in a cosmic chess game between forces of light and darkness. Even the exodus from Egypt is reframed as a victory in this ongoing spiritual warfare. The heavenly tablets. One of the most striking concepts in Jubilees is the existence of heavenly tablets, cosmic records upon which all of history, law, and destiny are written. These aren't just divine books, they're the fundamental source code of reality itself. When Moses receives the law on Sinai, he's not getting new information. He's being shown copies of eternal truths that have existed since before the foundation of the world. The origin and nature of demons. The text provides detailed explanations for the existence and activity of demons, not as fallen angels, as often assumed, but as the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim who perished in the flood. These entities, neither fully divine nor human, are condemned to wander the earth, seeking to corrupt and destroy until the final judgment. Why does any of this matter today? The Book of Jubilees forces us to confront fundamental questions about the nature of Scripture, divine revelation, and the cosmic dimensions of faith that modern Christianity often overlooks. If this text preserves authentic ancient traditions about biblical history, what does that mean for our understanding of familiar stories? If the Ethiopian church was right to preserve it as Scripture, what other texts might we be missing from our biblical canon? And if the cosmic warfare it describes is real, how should that change the way we might understand spiritual life in the 21st century? The Book of Jubilees stands as a testament to the complexity and richness of ancient Jewish thought, a reminder that the biblical world was far more nuanced and mysterious than our modern interpretations often suggest. Whether you view it as inspired scripture, valuable historical document, or fascinating religious literature, its influence on Jewish and Christian thought cannot be denied. As we continue to uncover and study these ancient texts, we're not just learning about the past, we are discovering new dimensions of faith that our ancestors considered essential truths. The Ethiopian Christians who preserved this book for 2,000 years believed it contained revelations too important to lose. Perhaps it's time we started listening to what they were trying to tell us. The journey through the Book of Jubilees is just beginning, and there's so much more to explore. If today's deep dive into these ancient mysteries has sparked your curiosity, I need you to hit that like button right now. It tells me you want more content like this. Make sure you're subscribed to Timler's Sphere with notifications turned on, because we are just scratching the surface of the hidden texts and forgotten wisdom that could reshape everything you thought you knew about biblical history. Drop a comment below and let me know, what aspect of the Book of Jubilees intrigued you most? Are you ready to explore more of these ancient secrets? And don't forget to share this video with anyone who's hungry for deeper biblical truth. Together, we are bringing these incredible revelations back into the light where they belong. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and remember, the greatest mysteries are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for those brave enough to look beyond the surface. This is Timler's Sphere, signing off.